Hi everyone, this is Dr. Serge, the nutrition scientist. Today we're gonna continue on the same line as the last few videos, meaning that I'm gonna explain a bit more why there's so much confusion and misunderstanding and false data in our field of nutrition and wellness and health. So I wanted to specifically talk about the third step of this scientific method, which is hypothesis. So I'm gonna give you a really simple example to really get my point across. So we're gonna state as a hypothesis that all sheep are white. So based on the scientific method, what we need to do is we need to confirm this hypothesis or not by designing and performing experiments. So in this case, what we do is we walk around and look at the color of the sheep. Let's say in our case, we've been looking around and the only thing we see is white sheep. So we see one sheep is all white. So as we collect data, we can see that all sheep are white. So it seems that the hypothesis is right. But what happened is one day we see one black sheep. So if you see one black sheep, that does not agree with the hypothesis, right? So what we need to do based on the 7th step of the scientific method is we need to go back to that question, that the hypothesis, meaning that we saw a black sheep, so the hypothesis is wrong. So we need to go back and restate the hypothesis. So in our case, we could say all sheep are either white or black. So we need to change what we thought initially was right. To me, I think this is where most confusion arises in the field of nutrition. Even doctors and scientists sometimes are confused when it comes to this basic principle. I will give you a really simple and good example in the real world. Is in the 70s, some doctors hypothesized over here in that step that fats from animals cause heart disease. As good scientists, they perform different types of experiments. Most of them were actually to look at human population, which is epidemiology. Like we talked about in the last video, epidemiology can never tell us a yes or a no. It can just bring about more hypotheses. So most of these initial hypotheses were like white sheep kind of studies. All of them, they will look at, they will make sense, they were consistent, they will claim and show that animal fats will lead to heart disease. But as other type of studies based on biological science were performed, we could see that other studies were done. They were more like in the black sheep studies, meaning that these studies didn't agree with the initial hypothesis that fats would cause heart disease. So at that point, what happened is most of those doctors actually didn't go back to remake a statement about the hypothesis or change the hypothesis. So they just stuck with the same hypothesis that animal fats cause heart disease. But in the last few decades, we know today that was not the case. And I'm going to explain that a bit more in detail in future videos. So this is a really simple but really powerful concept we need to understand. Is if one study does not agree with the other ones, these white sheep study are not true. And we have to go back, change the hypothesis. So this is where the confusion arises in our field of nutrition. So we really have to look at the totality of all those studies and look at what makes sense or not. And this is my goals in the next few videos, to go into detail into this concept. So for now, I'm just gonna stay here, I'm gonna stop here, and I really want for you to get my point is we need to go through these 7 different steps to make sure that the results and data are true or not. In the meantime, I will talk to you later. God bless.